Hi guys, welcome back. This video is about 260cc bikes which focuses mainly on power. And I guess it's pretty obvious even without the title. Yes, it's Honda CB Hornet 160R and TVS's Apache RTR 164. Our classic comparison videos focuses mainly on 5 things which will cover almost everything about a bike, and it will help to decide the one for you based on your priorities. The first factor is the design. This factor varies based on riders. But anyways, let's take a look at both the bikes. Both the bikes' design are pretty familiar, especially in 2019 because the manufacturers actually didn't change much in the design side. Starting with the headlight, the Hornet gets a sharp and fierce looking LED headlight, which is a good one for your night rides. The range and coverage is good and you won't face any issues through pitch dark conditions. Checking the Apache RTR 164V, I feel the headlight used here on the RTR is more aggressive in shape, and it also gets snake fang style LED DRLs which adds to the look. Now, the RTR's main headlight for some reason is a halogen bulb, but surprisingly it has good range and coverage, and here also you won't have any troubles with your night rides. But from the two, if I had to pick one for night rides, I would pick the Hornet. Now let's check the fuel tank of both the bikes, and for the Hornet, it gets a very muscular tank and there is a forward leaning shroud, and also you get bold and attractive graphics. These all look good, but the part I really like is the fake carbon fiber pattern on the center of the tank, which actually acts as a protection for the tank when you place a bag or something on the tank. For the RTR 164V, it's the iconic Apache style chunky tank, which is simple but well done with race flag style graphics. The tank used on the RTR also gets tank cowl, and based on looks, my preference is for sure the RTR 164V's tank, even though it misses out the fake carbon fiber pattern on the center of the tank. Next, let's check the meter console, which is by the way fully digital on both the bikes, and here I'm gonna say straight, the one I prefer is the one on the Apache RTR 164V. It looks very clean with a 3-2-1 go race on welcome screen, and it shows all the necessary stuff. And for readability during a very bright and sunny day, it's very easy. For the Hornet, the speedometer looks a bit dated, but for the information shown, here also you get all the needed ones. This meter console is also an easy one to read during a bright and sunny day. Now let's move to the rear design of the bikes, and for the Hornet, it gets a very stylish X-shaped LED taillight with split type pillion grab rail flanked on either side. The rear design of the Hornet is very attractive, and also the grab rails are very comfortable for the pillion. For the RTR, it's a small but eye-catching taillight with the signature RTR style pillion grab rail, which are also comfortable for the pillion. Then for the handlebar, both the bikes get the straight type handlebar with different color accents and also slightly different switch controls. Both the bikes gets dim bar bright switch, indicator toggle, horn, pass light, and also the self start switch as common switch controls. But what's different is that the Hornet misses out on the engine kill switch, which the RTR 164V has, but the Hornet gets a hazard switch control, which the TVS doesn't have. Well, for me, I prefer the engine kill switch anytime over the hazard switch. Next, for the exhaust, both the bikes gets very aggressive looking yet very different style exhaust. The Hornet is a compact one, while the RTR 164V's is the racing double barrel exhaust. Then both the bikes get alloy wheels with rim strips, and here I like the 5-spoke split type alloys of the Hornet more than the standard one used on the RTR. Then finally, the Hornet misses out an undercowl, which the RTR has. So that's all for the design of both the bikes, and like I said in the beginning, design preference varies based on riders, and for me, my pick for design is the Apache RTR 164V. I do like the design of Hornet, but from the two, for me it's the RTR which looks more attractive. Now let's check the second factor, which is the specs. This factor is just for reference, and we'll start with the Hornet. The Hornet gets a 162.71cc air-cooled 4-stroke single-cylinder carburetor engine which has good max net power and torque. Both the tires used here are tubeless and really wide for the segment in terms of thickness. For the brakes, the front is 276mm disc and the rear can either be 130mm drum or 220mm disc. And here, the front brake is equipped with ABS. The Hornet's weight varies based on the model you choose, where the heaviest is 141 kg. For the ground clearance, the Hornet's ground clearance is 164mm, which is not bad, and the fuel tank capacity is standard at 12 liters. For the method of starting, you get both self and kick, and finally for the suspensions, the front is a telescopic suspension and the rear is a monoshock suspension. For the Apache RTR 164V, the engine capacity is slightly on the lower side at 159.7cc, and it's an oil-cooled 4-stroke single-cylinder engine which can either be carburetor or fuel injection. The max power and torque generated is more than what you get with the Hornet, and for the tires used, they are also tubeless, but it's not as thick as the ones used in the Hornet. Then for the brakes, here also it varies based on the model, and the one we tested gets a 270mm pedal disc in the front and a 200mm pedal disc on the rear. And this bike is also a single-channel ABS bike where the ABS is just equipped on the front. Then for the weight, the heaviest model and the lightest model of the RTR are both heavier than the heaviest of the Hornet, and also for the ground clearance, the Apache RTR gets better ground clearance at 180mm. Then the fuel tank capacity of the RTR is similar to the Hornet at 12 liters, and for the starting method, here also you get both self and kickstart. Then finally for the suspensions, the front is telescopic fork and the rear is monoshock. Now the specs on paper looks promising for both the bikes with slight upper hand for the RTR in some areas. But like I always say, this is just for reference, and the main thing that decides is the next factor, which is the ride quality and comfort. On paper, the Hornet gets an engine with slightly more capacity than the RTR 164V, but when you take both the bikes on road for the performance, it's still the RTR which performs better. Hornet overall has a linear performance, but with good response in the initial gears. The Hornet's engine has the power to hit 100 km/h mark without any issues, and even at that speed, the bike is very refined and smooth. The gearbox used on the Hornet is a 5-speed gearbox, and the gear shift is prompt without any hiccups. One more thing to stress is that you won't feel any vibrations from any parts in a speed range of 0 to 100 for the Hornet. Now for the RTR 164V, this bike's power is the best in the 160cc segment, and you can feel it the instant you twist the accelerator. The bike leaps forward and can easily hit good speed. The bike has good stability, and even while riding at 100 km/h, the bike stays well planted on the road. TVS did a good job in refining the engine, and hence it was a comfortable experience even at high speed. I didn't notice any vibration from the RTR in a speed range of 0 to 100. It's not fair to choose one based on ride quality, because here, both these 160cc bikes did well, even though for the performance, it's still the RTR which does better. But for ride comfort, I can choose one without any hesitation, and my choice is the Honda CB Hornet. Now, what I did to determine the ride comfort is that I took both the bikes for a 50 km ride in a stretch, and after that, I was feeling more comfortable with the Hornet than the RTR 164V. It's mainly because the RTR 164V seats, even though it didn't give me any trouble for short commutes, I started to feel slight discomfort after riding 40 km in a stretch. It's a single seat and has good cushioning, but still I feel TVS could have done better. For the suspensions on the Apache, it's set soft and has good response, and hence I didn't experience any stress or strain even while riding through really bad road conditions. And for the seating posture, it's not a very aggressive posture, but not upright too. The handlebar is set low, but not too far, and hence the RTR 164V was an easy to control bike in traffic. TVS also did a good job with the new braking combo where we get ABS on the front. And the model we tested did respond well to quick brakes, and I didn't experience any skids or rear wheel lift off. Now for the Hornet, the seats are not very wide, but was more comfortable than the ones used in the RTR. The Hornet's design felt more compact, with the handlebar staying closer to the rider, and also the seat height was feeling a bit low than the RTR. Now these things together gave a more upright posture than the one in the RTR 164V, and hence I was more comfortable here even for short as well as long rides. Honda suspensions used in the Hornet are really good, and hence it was an enjoyable experience even while riding through rough patches. Then for the brakes, the version we tested is the ABS standard, and here, even though the rear brake was drum, the brake's response was good. Now compared to the RTR 164V, the RTR has the slight upper hand in terms of braking, but still the Hornet's ABS standard version's braking didn't give me any trouble. In fact, it was spot on, and also I didn't experience any issues. And also one more thing with the Hornet is that the ride control was slightly better here compared to the RTR 164V. So that takes us to the fourth factor, which is the mileage. Here Hornet did perform better during our testing, where we got approximately 48 km/L for the Hornet in city traffic, and for the RTR 164V, we got approximately 45 km/L in almost similar riding conditions. Now please do note that the mileage you get will vary based on the riding pattern and also based on riding conditions. And now to the last factor, which is the price. We'll start with the Hornet, and its ABS variants pricing are here, and as you can see, the ABS Deluxe, which is the top variant, it cost approximately 98,959 Indian rupees ex showroom. And for the RTR 164V, there are different versions available, and here's the price list, and as you can see, the carb variant with ABS, it cost approximately 92,101 Indian rupees. Well, that's all for the comparison, and I feel this one is a pretty tough one. Both the bikes are really good options, and the final deciding factor is surely based on riders' priorities. Well, for me, I really wanted to pick the RTR 164V because of its performance, design, and price, but my main priority is always comfort and ride control, and because of that, I would slightly lean more towards the CB Hornet, even though its price tag is slightly more than the RTR 164V. That's up for this video, guys. Hope you liked it. If so, please do hit the like button, and also please do subscribe, and before you go, please do leave in the comment section the bike you prefer. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Till then, bye and ride safe.